that the county deals with on a daily basis. And I think the first time I brought the list forward, there was 100 contractors on the list, and I think only 4 had Mendocino County business licenses. 2 months ago, maybe, I brought an additional list forward, and I think it was in excess of 200 businesses, contractors, and only 17 had valid Mendocino County licenses, business licenses. So I think I unfortunately brought that load of work to Ms.
No,
Shatmar.
I was happy with that. This has been very difficult for our staff to work with, so this forced it to clean up, which I'm happy.
Right. Well, I was quite taken back and became quite angry that contractors and businesses that we deal with, spending the taxpayers' money to do business with to get products back, weren't even complying with a law that existed of having a business license in their valid possession. So I think this is an effort to move that forward. If the board so wishes to examine a revenue-based type of a license fee, I'd like to hear from the board to see a majority to do that, because that's going to take a lot more work, and then it's going to go to a Prop 218 vote of the people, and the expense added, et cetera, et cetera. So what's the feeling of the board in moving in that direction, other than just a flat license fee as presented today?
Well, that's not on for consideration on today's agenda. So the only thing that's on for consideration is the waive reading and adoption of the first reading of the ordinance. And that's all you should be doing at this point.
Right.
You can direct staff to bring something back to you on the agenda for later discussion.
For a discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. Supervisor Colfax?
Well, I haven't gotten an answer, and maybe I didn't ask the question clearly enough. But I guess my concern here is the rate of the increase. Whether we would actually have to go back to the public. It seems if we were to simply say that we're making the increases on the basis of cost of living, and that's not a whole lot of work. We do some simple calculations of what we have in place, and that would be an appropriate adjustment. I find here that seeing my business license going from $30 to $40 a year, just absurd. I've been paying it for it since 1972, only because it's so ridiculously low. And it gives me something to put up on a wall to say I really hope to make money someday doing this kind of work I was doing. But the reality here is that I would like to see us come back, and the case could always be made if we're not going to go 250% increase, which would be the fair and legitimate increase if that's what the numbers show. But the fact of the matter is we're talking at least in the neighborhood of 100% increase. Now, whether people would stop paying under those circumstances, well, it might be better that I go to $80 and not pay it, as long as we get the outfits that are out there that are actually more public and actually making some money paying it, that are paying it at a higher rate. I'm just throwing it out as something that I'm just not comfortable with this. I think this is kind of a easy way to address this, and maybe you'll answer my question.
Ms. Ford.
Meredith Ford, Auditor Controller. The $25 fee that was in effect years and years ago was based on the 1957 ordinance. Back when that was adopted, we didn't have the requirements where they weren't supposed to make a profit, that they weren't even designed to recover costs at that time. When Tim Knudsen was Treasurer Tax Collector, he came to me asking me to justify an increased business license fee, and I said, you can't go any higher than the 25 because it doesn't cost you more than the 25. That's why it's only 40 now. Does that explain it in a nutshell? It's not what you wanted to hear, but that's the fact of the matter.
You can't charge more for a fee than it actually costs you to provide it.
Right.
But we didn't have those constraints
Exactly.
back when the $25 was adopted.
Okay.
Otherwise, the fee would only have been
$5
Yes.
or $10.
Or
So
again,
we really knew how to do things back in the old days. is with the moral of this, that is that's why government was
Bureaucracy
not in the
rocks, yeah.
state it was back in 1957. Okay.
Right. Does that help?
We're
It
much
doesn't
better.
help. No, it's bad
Why don't-
information.
Does it help you
Thank you.
understand?
No, I do. Thank
Why
you.
don't we just ask people to donate $50 and maybe we get more compliance there than we are on charging a fee? Because, and
Right.
referring back to your list that you posed, what are we getting? Less than 20% compliance factor? And
I
if
have
you
no
look at
idea.
these list
Yeah.
of businesses, I'd say that's probably about right.
Well, what the problem with the majority of those, the vast majority of those that were brought forward by Supervisor Wattenberger were out-of-county businesses. So the only way that they were going to get licensed was if they all ran to the sheriff's department and got fingerprinted and pictures taken and all that. And sheriff's office wanted no part of that.
This cleans it all up.
And we had a county council opinion that said if somebody from out of the county is licensed, that's where they have to, that's the little hole that they're in, is the itinerant business permit, so.
Okay. Let's move to public comment on this item. Any members of the public approve, disapprove, want to throw rocks at the fee as proposed? Or willing to go to a vote of the people later on? And I get the look from the county council, so. Okay, seeing no one step forward, what's the action of the board? What's the motion? Supervisor.
Move the recommended action.
Okay, it's been moved, the recommended action, which is to introduce and waive the reading on the Mendocino County Business License Ordinance, Chapter 6.04, and authorize the chair to sign the same. Do I hear a second? Okay. I'll second it. Start on you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I guess we can vote by a roll call vote.
Supervisor Delbar? Supervisor Wattenberger?
Aye.
Supervisor Smith?
Yes.
Supervisor Colfax?
Yes.
Vice Chair Pinches?
No.
Motion carries 4-1 with Supervisor Pinches dissenting.
Okay, thank you. You think,
You gonna give it back?
there's no requirement to have to.
Please.
Okay, that'll do it.
Okay, before we move to the next item, how about a 12-minute break?
Thank you.
And,
That's what we were looking for.
you bet.